Welcome to our Q&A session. Welcome to our Legal Birch Plywood. I'm Amelia Matthews from DHH and I'm with Ben Francis, our Managing Director. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. There's been a huge amount of interest in this topic, which is really great to see. We've picked out a few of the most common ones to discuss today. So Ben, our first question is, what would raise your suspicions that a product might be made from a legally sourced birch?
Well, thanks, Amelia. There's probably a few telltale signs to just look out for. I think when the face veneer thickness is too thin, sometimes as little as 0.2 mil, this will fray and lift easy on the edge and it will reveal the glue line. It obviously can't be sanded or lacquered as it's too thin. So that's certainly one thing. Where it's sold as a class 3 glue, this isn't realistic given the construction with the face veneer being wafer thin and the outer glue line. It just can't be phenolic as it would bleed through the face. So it points to me to a product with that being sold in that way with that thin face. It points to it being a typical Chinese or Southeast Asian platform plywood production. I think it's also unrealistic where clear face B and S plus faces are being offered on birch with Latvian origin. These haven't been offered from European manufacturers previously in commercial quantities and volumes. So why now? Due to the lack of high quality veneers within the EU market, I can't see why they've suddenly become available from other sources further afield. If the core is a hybrid or it's a different core to the birch face and it's sold as a decorative plywood, this genuinely points to, again, an Asian, Southeast Asian production. So I'd have the same concerns as I mentioned before about origin of log, and I'd have some suspicions on that.
Perfect, thank you. So why is Southeast Asia a significant issue with illegal birch?
Well, many birch plywood products have entered the UK and EU markets from China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and have been purporting to have birch log origin from Latvia or other Baltic states. So it's just, for me, it's wholly questionable as the log export stats from Latvia, for example, just don't correlate with the amount of plywood being exported back from those countries. The real issue is Russian logs being freely available and exported into China as they have their open trade agreement and close proximity to each other. Asia produces huge amounts of birch face plywood for export, largely to the US cabinet and furniture markets, who pay a 50% tariff for the goods. But these factories, they peel and manufacture plywood, and when they then choose to export to the EU or the UK, they'll declare it as Latvian Baltic origin to get around the EU TR or UK TR regulations. This origin paperwork is generally falsified, and it's a bit of a ruse to legitimise the real source of the birch log, which ultimately from the outset is Russian. Vietnamese, Indonesian, Malaysian plywood factories mainly source their birch veneers from Chinese peelers. So in line with my previous point, the origin risks of birch plywood being supplied from those regions is just highly questionable and has a massive amount of risk.
That's really useful. Thank you for that, Ben. Our next question is plywood manufactured in Russia still being directly exported into the UK and Europe despite sanctions in place?
Well, it shouldn't be, as it's illegal under trade sanctions, but yes, there's Russian plywood being blatantly repackaged and relabeled to disguise its true origin. It's circumventing sanctions and being sold via transit countries such as Kazakhstan, Turkey, Egypt, more recently Georgia, Romania. A recent report, Bloodstained Birch by Earthsight, exposed quite a few cases across the EU, and much of the material got intercepted by the EU authorities and penalties applied. But this material will ultimately look exactly the same as legitimate EU birch plywood, 13 ply core and 18 mil with 1.4 mil faces, 1.4 mil veneer thicknesses. it's solely down then to the paper trail and the origin documentation that will be fraudulent. But things like isotopic testing alongside origin mapping can expose the true country of harvest and origin of the wood.
That's quite concerning. So our final question for today is, what more can others in the industry do to help prevent illegally sourced birch from entering the UK?
Well, in my view, it really comes down to stronger due diligence, more scrutiny throughout your supply chain. I guess questions like where is your birch reported to be coming from? Focus on log origin, manufacture, request full UKTR documentation. Take a closer look at your products. The packaging, does it actually look like genuine European birch? Be cautious if it's a face grade or a product or a price that seems too good to be true. It probably is. If you have suspicions, then talk to your suppliers, talk to TD UK, report it to OPSS, talk to DHH, your industry expert. The more we raise awareness and make noise about this issue, the harder it becomes for illegal products to reach our industry. Thank you all for your questions. For anything related to Birch Plywood products, be sure to talk to DHH. If you're knowingly importing or purchasing birch plywood from illegal sources, then this video probably wasn't for you. But if you're looking to ensure your sourcing is legal and responsible, stick around. We've got plenty more tips and insights to share with you.